we saw Year of the Planet of the Apes.
Also known
as War for the Planet of the Apes.
Inside joke. Typo.
I swear if the next one's Fall of the Planet of the Apes, they're going to have issues with video game developers. There are two Transformers video games called War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron.
So, yeah. Ape movie.
Good. It was a really enjoyable movie.
Yeah, basically, in very much the same tone as the previous Apes movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Only just, only taken to the next level where they start right out where it's like gritty war stuff, but with apes versus the,
It did a really good job at making you feel sympathetic towards the apes. They were really portrayed well as the good guys that just wanted to live by themselves.
Yeah.
But the humans had to come and attack them anyway.
The damn dirty humans. So, yeah, basically, it starts off right off the bat with like an ambush from the humans, and they really plaster on just how cruel they are with what's written on the backs of their helmets.
Donkey. Oh well, no, donkeys were other things, but they each had like gorilla killer.
Yeah, like monkey killer, bedtime for Bonzo.
Like just really getting the point that these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
They don't like monkeys.
And another interesting little thing, they refer to the enemy apes as
donkeys.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They refer to like the enemy, especially Caesar, as Kong. They refer to their ally apes, the traitor apes that are on their side as Donkey. Donkey Kong?
I honestly didn't put that together. It didn't.
It only would have been funnier if in one scene they actually had one of them throw a barrel.
I was gonna say banana, but barrel makes more sense.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was also well paced. Like it didn't.
Yeah.
Like it didn't linger too long on things. Like there wasn't any boring feel. Hard to explain.
Yeah, I mean. They balance the action set pieces with the intimate emotion scenes as well, and dialogue.
Like the humans out. Well, we shown Caesar has a side that he's sick of fighting, where they capture the humans because the humans were unprepared. Really, only like 2 or 3 guys actually survived.
And it's because of a barrage of arrows.
Yeah.
It's like the Ewoks fight in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. And except the apes actually had more than just arrows.
Yes, well, so did the Ewoks.
Yeah. But like he lets them leave with a message that he doesn't want to fight.
Yeah.
Which is not reciprocated.
Mm.
And then being the first of these trilogy that I've actually watched, I really liked how smart the apes were shown. They developed their own version of sign language to talk to themselves when if they can't really understand English.
Well, that was established actually in the first movie in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, because that original group of apes was from a specific sort of zoo in California where the humans were specifically teaching them sign language. We often do now.
Yeah. It also gave hints at the previous movies. It made me want to go watch the previous ones, but it didn't tell you too much of what happened in the one.
I recommend it.
Yeah. So it turns out Caesar, they live in a giant hill basically. And they want to move to farther away from the humans. Mm-hmm. And Caesar has a wife and 2 kids.
Yeah.
Who have found, one of the kids has found a place they can live in the desert.
Yeah.
So we get scenes interacting. I like the amount of different species of apes that the movie had.
Yeah.
Like they had silverback gorillas and like all different kinds of gorillas, not like the cheesy ones the original movies had.
Well, I mean,
those were pretty cheesy.
True, but it was the 60s. But you also have to keep in mind, it was still a reference to the original movies because the original movies did have different species. It's just they're more anthropomorphic.
Right.
Like they had the chimpanzees, the orangutans, and the gorillas primarily. Each one in their own class.
Yeah. So, and then the soldiers, who are a group called Alpha Omega, which, considering I had to answer that question 3 different times, are pretty familiar.
It's a time play.
Yeah. That name kind of makes sense considering militaries tend to use that kind of
we are the beginning of the end.
That kind of coded dialogue, like when talking to each other, like out.
Well, it was supposed that like they made it clear why they were called that. We are the beginning of the end. But again, to me, the whole Alpha Omega thing is kind of cliched at this point. I see it so much that it's actually do something different, but whatever.
And they return to attack the base, and they end up killing Caesar's wife and one of his children.
Yeah.
So that sends him on the warpath for his story for the rest of the movie, which is to get revenge against the general.
Tasks me.
I don't even remember if they gave him a name other than the general.
The colonel, actually.
Oh, colonel, yeah.
And I don't think he did have an actual name. He just called himself the Colonel.
Yeah. And like, the movie I thought did a good job at portraying him as a bad guy, but like he was evil because of what he was doing to the apes, not just for the sake of being evil.
Yeah. I mean, he was very much a broken man that was pushed beyond the point of no return.
Yeah, and just doing what he thought was right to save humanity.
Yeah, basically the argument that it's us or them.
Yeah, and there was also an underlying current of the virus that had attacked the humans in the movies.
The first movie
had mutated to the point where it was turning humans into what they were in the original 60s movies.
Yeah, basically mute animals.
And the Colonel hated this because he hated that it was taking away what made humans humans, their higher intellect and their ability to speak.
Yeah.
So he did everything he could to prevent it, but it was kind of ironic what happened to him in the end.
Yeah. Also, a couple references to the original movie too that I thought were neat. You haven't seen the original movies, I'm sure, but
yeah, I think I've seen nostalgia critics for.
No, that was the really crappy Tim Burton one. That's not what they would be.
Right.
They were trying to reference the original '60s movie. But yeah.
With the little girl who ends up being named Nova.
Yes.
Because they
that ended up being the sort of love interest for Charlton Heston's character in the original.
Yeah, because in the movie throughout with Caesar's journey for revenge, they came across a lone soldier in a housing, and they come across a little girl who was with him, who is mute. But
we learn later why he was alone with her there. It was the Colonel's fault.
Yeah, it was the Colonel's fault. Because he either killed everyone who succumbed to the disease, the virus, or they ran away.
Yeah.
Because they were told to kill their loved ones.
Yeah.
So she ends up being the human companion brought along because one of the other apes couldn't stand to leave her by herself.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other apes' names, most of them.
Maurice?
Maurice? Oh.
Yeah, the orangutan.
Okay. The ball bag.
His face. Flat face.
Fat plate.
Flat face.
Flat face, make ball bag. But we also, they come across another ape, I guess, from that zoo who learned English but didn't learn sign language.
It was a different zoo.
Okay.
Because they didn't recognize him.
Yeah, he was from the camp where the Colonel is.
Yeah.
And he learned to speak English but not sign language.
Yeah.
He spoke very broken English.
He basically became the comic relief of the movie from then on, kind of like the C-3PO, if you will.
And
oh no, today.
And he tells the story of more soldiers coming from the north, which I thought would end up being a good fake out, like not expected. Like,
Yeah.
Caesar expected the soldiers to be more allies for the colonel,
Yeah.
but it turned out, no, it's the rest of the population, not, well, specifically, like, the rest of the population that's not with Colonel is sending troops to fight him, because he's all macho, come fight me!
Very much, this is Sparta!
Even the scene from the commercials where he
We are
goes...
300 Spartans!
Even the scene from the commercial where he goes, so emotional! It's a better scene in the movie because it's coming from Caesar attacking him.
Yeah.
Basically out of anger, so like...
And the colonel in that scene basically established that, for the most part, all his emotions have either been just purged or suppressed because they had to be.
Yeah.
Because of what he's had to do just for survival.
I found a lot of this movie, like the events that happened were mostly by accident. Like the colonel and his soldiers meeting up, like finding and capturing all of Caesar's crew, basically happened, as he said, by accident. They happened to come across them.
Yeah.
Like Caesar coming across a fellow ape that knew English by accident.
Mm-hmm. What convenience!
Which isn't bad.
Yeah.
But then, like, we find out, the colonel has all the apes, and he's having them build a giant wall, I guess, to survive a fight with all the soldiers that are coming.
And as Caesar mentioned, his wall is madness. It will not save him. Because, they're both, when it finally gets to that end battle, they're both using missiles and rockets, and, like, the wall is made of wood.
Yeah. And stone.
Yeah, so...
It's basically there...
The rest of the base is stronger than the freaking wall.
It's basically there to have all the apes in one place for their final escape scene.
Yeah.
Caesar confronts the colonel eventually. Well, he gets kidnapped, and like they have a whole heart-to-heart, basically. Colonel basically just spills his guts all over the place in the direction of Caesar. When Caesar's like, even the colonel note, I like this a little bit. He even talks about how human Caesar's face looks.
Yeah.
Which is a nice note to how much better makeup and that kind of stuff have gotten since the 60s.
Well, it's not makeup now, it's CGI.
Yeah.
Obviously, but yeah.
But it looks a lot better than it did back then.
Yeah. Although I like the ones in the 60s too. Yeah. But yeah.
I found it easy to believe that this was an actual herd of apes attacking me.
Yeah.
It was easier to believe than that, trying to pick out if it was CGI or not. It was just easier to believe that they look like apes, so okay, they're apes.
Yeah. But
the girl, the little human girl, Nova, ends up breaking in, and basically they enact a plan to all escape. And she's carried the doll with her the whole time.
Yeah, she had a little Chekhov's doll.
Yeah, and the colonel notices that when he comes to, I guess, I don't know what he did to Caesar,
torture him.
He notices the doll and he recognizes it because from one of the soldiers' daughters, and he ends up picking it up, which ends up dooming him.
Yeah.
Kind of pretty ironically.
Yeah.
Really, when you realize the doll, the virus, I guess, needed something to activate it, and the doll transmitted.
Some reviewers speculated that it's transferred via blood contact because there's blood on it.
But it ended up going to the colonel. I can't figure out a better word.
He picks it up.
The virus.
Yeah.
Virus
transferred.
Yeah. So I like the scene, all the giant helicopters, all the large group of people come attack him, and all the soldiers are like, Colonel, Colonel. When you look up his room, it's like he's lying there, basically a broken man, even more broken now because he can't talk.
Yeah.
But now he wants to. It's weird kind of... they showed throughout the movie, the effects of the virus, blood from the mouth, unable to talk. But for some reason, Nova never really was shown suffering from other than just being mute. Because even she learned sign language sort of from the apes. Like, even though she was technically not, like you could say, not as smart as a human, she's still able to learn sign language.
Well, I think any moment where there's blood from the mouth, that is just that one scene where like the apes came across the
the soldiers
who the colonel had shot, and one of them just happened to survive the shot, but would have died from his wounds anyway. So they finished him off out of mercy kill.
But they didn't actually kill him; they just left him.
No, but I saw them. They because Maurice said he will die of his injuries. So, and then it shows them pointing their rifle to him because he would have died very slowly and painfully. So it implied that they mercy killed him.
Because also the colonel had blood on his face when Caesar showed up to enact his revenge, because that was the whole storyline of Caesar wants revenge.
Well, most characters had blood on them at some point because it's a war, right?
Yeah, but he was in his room by himself.
I don't remember there actually being blood. I don't think he was coughing up blood. He was trying to reach his bottle of whiskey or liquor
some kind
or whatever.
of booze.
But
he also had a little pistol because he's the kind of guy that liked to go up and shoot you himself. So
yeah.
Caesar picks up the pistol.
Yeah.
And thinks about it, and thinks about the ape who started the war,
Koba.
in
from the previous movie,
and
Dawn of the
and he
Planet of the
decides he's not gonna. First, he gave in and realized, okay, I am like Koba, and then the last bit, he's like, okay, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna kill this guy.
They made this a really nail-biting scene, which was effective. Yeah. But the thing is, it didn't really matter in the end because the colonel shot himself with the same gun anyway once Caesar left the room.
Yeah, he picked it up. Well, I think Caesar was still there.
Well, yeah, no,
he was still standing there as
but Caesar had left that room, but was close enough to still hear the shot. He sort of left out of respect, I think, because he knew he was gonna shoot himself anyway. But that's why I don't get why they needed to make that a nail-biting scene, because it's basically the same end result. Even shooting him wouldn't have been revenge; it would have been a mercy kill anyway, because it showed the colonel begging Caesar to do it, like wanting and like come on, do it. With
basically the ultimate irony for his character.
Yeah,
fighting so hard to keep human, but end up losing his humanity to the one thing he wanted to prevent. Because even he mentioned it. The rest of the people, or like scientists, even said, "Oh, we can just." He said that they said that they could cure it with science, and he wasn't willing to believe that. But that might have been the best course anyway, to cure it by science. We don't know.
But
it also highlighted another thing that I like. The gunshots in this movie were not, were actually done really well. If that makes any sense. Like, I've noticed like a lot of movies tend to have like a long pause and then a really loud gunshot. Like it sounds way too close to the camera, so it kind of throws you off for that millisecond before.
The audio balance is.
But this one, none of the bullets, whether in any of the fight scenes, were actually loud. It was I kept sitting there expecting the loud bullet shots. I'm like, oh, I'm still able to enjoy this even with the gunshots. It's like they're basically
well audio balanced, basically. One movie in particular like that I'll know has the that problem that you were mentioning of the really bad audio balance with the difference between dialogue and action scenes is Watchmen, Zack Snyder's Watchmen. Because like whenever I have to watch it, when I watch it on Blu-ray or whatever, it doesn't matter what audio system you have set up. When the characters are talking, you have to have the volume turned up twice as loud as when the action scenes start. It's very poorly audio balanced. But yeah, that's the I do a fair amount of video editing, so I have a lot of experience with audio balance and know how important it is. But yeah.
And then we get basically the end of the movie is a fight between all the soldiers for the colonel and everyone that came to attack the base.
which the apes use as the distraction to escape.
Yeah. And there was a nice bit of tension where the one ape, the most common, the donkey, who had been with them the whole time, was up on the...
the traitor.
Yeah, he's up on the top of the
TR-8R.
wall. And one of the soldiers wants him to get the grenade launcher, but the gorilla notices that Caesar's down there about to get shot.
Not just that, but even before that, he's looking out over like all the apes being killed, and it's like, what have I become? Moment.
No.
Yeah, basically.
So then he kills the guy with the bow and arrow, who was one of the soldiers in the earlier movie, except now he's basically the right-hand man in the top.
Yeah,
the best shot.
One of the ones from the beginning of the film, from that initial ambush.
Yeah. Who gets a shot off on Caesar, stabbing him in the side.
Yeah.
Right after Caesar is about to throw a grenade at a propane, not a propane tank, but similar to
flammable gas.
Flammable gas to ignite everything.
Gasoline it might have been, because it was liquid.
And so the donkey, did he throw a grenade? I can't remember what he did exactly.
Well,
he shot the guy with that had the bow and arrow, killing him
with the rocket launcher.
With the rocket launcher, and then got shot himself by all the people being like, "You just betrayed us!"
Yeah,
with a little bit of a silence in there to silence the gunshots.
Yeah, but
that typical movie trope of silencing things to make them more emotional.
Yeah, but it raises one question. I'm sure that Donkey could have seen that Caesar was about to throw a grenade at the propane tank. Why didn't he just, really quickly shoot the guy with the crossbow and then fire the rocket the grenade launcher at the propane tank? Two birds in one stone. Yeah. Shoot the crossbow guy with a regular bullet and then fire the rocket launcher at the propane to help Caesar, two birds, one stone thing. He would have had time to do that, just bang bang. But anyway, whatever.
Maybe it's a situation where he wasn't thinking properly. Like you kind of have to make split second decisions in that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
But and then another propane tank blows up, which somehow Caesar survives again.
Yeah, that's because he blew up two of them, both with the grenades again, which would have been helpful if the donkey ape had just used the rocket launcher on at least one of them.
Yeah. But it sets off an avalanche, which then kills everyone that was down there in that area.
First of all, the explosions, it helps basically weed out most of the humans fighting in that camp, allowing the enemy Persian ripoff humans to basically be victorious for about 2 minutes.
They're all like, yeah, and they look up, oh, it's an ape. We're gonna shoot you, and then a giant avalanche comes and kills all of them.
Yeah, basically, and this was the first time in any movie that I've seen an avalanche actually portrayed as threatening. Like, you actually feel the weight of it. Like,
you worry if Caesar's actually going to escape.
Not just that, but again, going to the audio balance, the rumble of it was actually louder than any of the gunshots and much more effective in, getting you on the edge of your seat. Like, never before have I seen an avalanche, done that well in terms of, but I know it's a weird thing to focus on, but
it's effective.
Yeah.
I'm
super effective.
It's a critical hit. I'm reminded of the poem something of sound and fury signifying nothing.
I don't know what you're referencing.
Yeah, that basically describes what that battle is. Just a lot of fighting signifying absolutely nothing because nobody made it out alive.
Yeah.
Besides Caesar and all the apes.
Mm.
But then they make the trek to the desert, and we end up finding out that Caesar is dying to his wounds.
Yeah, but that's the other sort of flaw that I found in the movie, a minor one, but still, you know, Caesar was like, first of all, even with part of that arrow still stuck in his shoulder, he was still able to not only chuck those grenades, outrun the explosions, outrun the avalanche by climbing up a tree, survive the entire, you know, journey all the way to the desert, which was probably at least a couple 100 kilometers on horseback, without anybody noticing he was hurt, and then suddenly, just in some dialogue, as they finally reach the watering hole, and then he stays on the edge next to a tree with Maurice. Maurice knows, oh hey, you're hurt, and he's like, yeah, I'm dying. Yeah.
Adrenaline can explain like most of that.
Yeah,
like the need to survive can outweigh the feeling of pain.
It can explain a bit of the survival, but first of all, he should have lost mobility in one arm, which it clearly showed he did not. All that jostling around too should have like ripped his internal organs to shreds, and on top of that, once that final, you know, surviving the avalanche thing was over, that adrenaline should have worn off.
Yeah.
And he should have died right there.
But yeah, you kind of had to bring it to an emotional...
I know. Again, a minor nitpick. Yeah. Something that CinemaSins would bring up, but, yeah. You know.
People like to hate on CinemaSins, I've seen.
Yeah. But, yeah, one other sort of Easter egg that I will mention. Caesar's younger son, the one that survived, his name was Cornelius. Again, another reference to the original movie. One of the main characters in the original movie was named Cornelius. So, again, another nod to...
And basically that brings the movie to an end where... the only place they theoretically could go is back to the beginning of the original movies. Maybe not with the time travel element, I don't know. Or whatever the story was of the reboot, but...
Yeah.
Like, they basically brought this trilogy to an end. Like,
yeah.
Everyone's had a full character arc. Like,
yeah. So... Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Oh, Dr. Zayas.
Get your paws off me, you damn dirty furry.